Welcome everyone. Today I'd like to introduce you to my friend, the Zinky Blue Velvet 50. We've been friends for about 12, 13, maybe 14 years now. It was a whimsical eBay purchase many years back, which I've never ever considered getting rid of, and never will, so don't ask. I've owned lots of good amps. I was a big Messer Boogie devotee for a long time and had many of their models, which I really loved. I'm surprised I don't actually own any anymore, but among all that kind of switch around that us guitarists do, the Zinky's been a constant. I've never wanted to get rid of it. They're really difficult to find these days, a real rarity. I don't really know how many were made, but the Zinky company was wound up some years back now, possibly almost 10 years I would imagine. Bruce Zinky, the founder of the company, came from Fender originally. He was responsible for amps like the Pro Sonic through Fender, a really popular and great sounding amp, as well as other designs. But he moved his kind of thoughts over to the Zinky operation and created these amps. And I first became aware of them having seen ZZ Top, I think, back in about 2006, and I wondered what this green, as it was, velvet coloured amp and speaker cab was that Billy Gibbons had. I was intrigued. So then I began a search on eBay for Zinkies in the UK, which there just weren't any until this one came up. So yeah, like I said, I just took an impulse buy, bought it, got it delivered, and I've owned it ever since and do not want to get rid of it. Zinky, or Bruce Zinky himself, then went on to reform Supro. I think he owned the Supro brand and sold it to a group that wanted to reignite the Supro brand. So whether he still has involvement in that company, I'm not quite sure. It's difficult to find out, but I imagine he probably does on a sort of consultancy basis. They're great amps as well, very much related to these Zinky amps, not necessarily post Zinky, but I think pre-Fender and pre-Zinky as well. I'm sure Bruce Zinky was a Supro fan as well, because let's be honest, some great players back in the day used Supros. So yeah, the purpose of today then is just to introduce you to this amp if you don't know anything about the Zinky. If you do get lucky and get there first on eBay and find one of these, then maybe this will be a little bit of an insight as to what to expect and whether it's the kind of the purchase for you. I don't think I've ever done an amp review before, so bear with me. I will try. I'll show you the kind of the guts and the kind of controls and things a little bit later. But for now, I'm going to give it a playthrough, beginning with the clean channel, and I'll show you how I've got the clean channel set up right now. Okay, looking at the clean channel, you'll see I have my clean volume all the way up at the top, and that's because I like it to start to break up and saturate a little bit, and then be controlled by the guitar's volume. The clean tone up around the 70-65% mark. It's quite a bright amp, so I don't like that to go too much higher than that for my guitars. And then the mid boost is instigated. You can see the switch is up pointing to boost. That just gives the clean tone a bit more lift. Let's give it a go. So I'm playing through a Duesenberg Star Player TV with the volume and tone controls all the way up on the bridge position. Global volume on the Blue Velvet is about the 30% mark, so pretty high. It's cooking in here, nice and loud. Let's hear it. To the middle position on the Star Player. And then to the neck. quite a nice crunch coming out of that, almost saturating. I think the volume has to be pretty high, the global volume now, not the in-channel volume control, for it to really break up. But I can hear just a modicum of crunch. These are quite hot pickups, so it's trying, but... So now we're going to move over to the gain channel, the overdrive channel, and see how that sounds. So on the overdrive channel, which is now alive with the little blue light showing us that, we've got the gain at about 35–40%, not too high, although you'll notice that that's quite gainy as it is. The overdrive is on full, adding to a bit of saturation there, and the tone control, similar to the clean really, is up around the kind of 70% mark. At this point I've got the mid boost cut out, but we can put that on in a second just to kind of compare how that sounds. So here it goes. Again, that's on the bridge pickup. Let's wind down the volume now, all the way down to about sort of 10%. Bit more, about midway point. It cleans up nicely. It's very responsive to your volume changes on your guitar. Which I like a lot. Gain-wise, if I dial the gain all the way up, it'll never do thrash. You hear it starting to get a bit angry at me. It'll never do kind of thrash or like heavy metal sort of tones. But yeah, it gets quite close. I'm going to implement the boost now as well, the mid boost, just to give it a bit of a kick in the behind. That sounds cool. Let's wind it back a little bit to about the 65% mark on the drive. We'll roll this volume back. It's a bit hissy, I guess, as valve amps can be, but I'm sitting pretty close to it, and I'm not actually sure whether this lead is the healthiest I've got. But anyway, let's see how we go. It's on. said, we've got a bit of reverb on there at the moment as well, about sort of 15-20%. I haven't played through this amp for some months, which is why I kind of decided to do this video. I felt sorry for it, and myself, because I haven't been able to experience its glory in all that time. I'm more of a Victory user these days, and so this amp has been sort of like languishing in the corner as something of an ornament, but the guys in the band, my band Light for Vandals, don't know it yet. But I think I'm going to take this along to the next rehearsal and scare them with it, hopefully, in a good way. We shall see. Yeah, it rocks. So here he is, the Zinky Blue Velvet 50 in all his splendour. It's a good looking guy, he's got a nice smile in his grille here, I like that, makes it very welcoming to want to play. Solidly built, a real chunk of an amp, he's not going anywhere at those higher volumes, he really holds his ground. And he weighs it as well, quite a difficult thing to lift. I can't remember what the weight of it was, it's difficult to find the kind of specs now online since the website's pretty much, it's not updated and they've actually delisted quite a lot of the kind of pages on the site, so hard to kind of find out, but yeah, for a small guy like me, he's weighty. Looking good though. And aging quite nicely. You can see the toe lex is starting to separate, as will happen over time. It's doing it pretty much everywhere there's a seam, really, to be fair. But yeah, I'm going to leave that alone, let him age gracefully. You can't do anything about the splits and cracks on my face, so why should I start doctoring and tinkering with the Zinky? He's fine, he's looking good for his age. I think I bought him about 12 years ago now that I think about it. Not an easy thing to have found. I didn't really know anything about Zinky. I just happened to be trawling on eBay looking at tube amps or valve amps in my usual searches and spotted this for sale in the UK. I thought, looks interesting, let's take a punt. And yeah, for 600 and whatever it was, 650 quid, I got this beast and hasn't left me since. No desire to get rid of it whatsoever. In fact, I want another one if I could just find one, but they are an increasing rarity, especially in the UK, but even in the US I haven't really been able to find one to consider importing. So yeah, really difficult to find. So looking at the top, I've got a top and upper control panel like you'd see on something like a Vox 8030 or similar. Not my real preference when it comes to amps. I like to kind of really see things on a more sort of available and visible level. But hey, once it's set up you don't really need to fiddle with it very much anyway, so I don't mind too much. On the left hand side we've got obviously standard input for the guitar instrument cable, and then a clean channel. Very simple, just a volume control and a tone control over here on the right of that. Here's your dividing line for where the channels start and end. There's also a boost to the mid-range that's switchable here. I always have the clean boost up, I prefer that for kind of my guitars. Alongside that we're into the gain channel, the overdrive channel, foot switchable, as well as by the toggle switch on the top here. And one extra knob in here for the gain, but again, volume and tone as well. And the aforementioned mid boost, if you so require. The mid boosts are not foot switchable, it's only the channel change and the reverb that are, and I'll show you the foot switch afterwards. But to be honest with you, once you set those, you tend to kind of set the scene really for what you need. I never really had to kind of turn around and tweak those in a gig. Once they're set, you're good to go, I find. And then just to finalise the controls, we've got the global reverb and the global master volume. Reverb I like the reverb to a point on this amp, but once you get over sort of this mark here, whatever that is, say 30-40%, it does start to get a bit strange, a bit washy, which some might like, but for me I just find it adds a strange glaze to things. It's not the kind of reverb effect I like. So in the lower settings I think it sounds its best. And then, like I mentioned before, the volume, it's a 50 watter, and yeah, there's no argument and there's no doubt that it's a 50 watt. It really kicks out some volume of this amp, and you know, it being as solid as it is, kind of makes sense really. It kicks out a lot of volume, but it doesn't move. It's definitely loud. It cuts through really well. Nice and clean and bright amp. And then your standard tube amp, valve amp, standby, and power on, and a lovely blue light that's shimmering at us and saying hello. So I just got back from the gym, where I lifted a whole load of weights, and since I've been able to do that, my arms are a lot bigger, and I was able to turn the Zinky Blue Velvet 50 around, as you can see. That's not true actually, I've just pulled a muscle in my neck and broken a finger. But it's fine, I managed it. You can now see the reverse of the amp. Let's take a closer look. So we have a stock Zinky speaker. I'm not quite sure whose speaker that really is. It's got a Zinky sticker over it, as you can see. Yeah, again, very difficult to kind of know because there's no information on the internet to kind of tell you. But if I can learn it, then I'll update this video to tell you. But all I know is that speaker kicks out all the necessary good sounds it's supposed to. So very nice indeed. It's a 12-inch reverb tank, looking a little bit dusty down there. And then over to the back panel itself, we've got the speaker inputs over here. 16 is what it's set to at the moment. You can actually have it at 4, 8 or 16 ohms at 50 watts, and you can set the impedance with the impedance knob just over here. So if you're using external cabs, you can obviously then change the impedance accordingly. There's a parallel effects loop. It's making a strange noise at me. I think it's my phone interfering with the amp. Parallel effects loop there, which is very good. No noticeable volume drop or any kind of strange changes to tone by using that effects loop like you sometimes get. So a really effective one. And then the foot switch input for the overdrive and reverb foot switches, which I'll show you shortly. And mine happens to be serial number 63. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't know how many of these were made actually. Who knows? And just taking you to the lamps in the back. We've got two 6L6 valves here, excuse me, and then 5 12X7s, which you might be able to see. There's one tucked in between those two 6L6s there, and the rest are closed. I nearly forgot, but here's the foot switch for the overdrive and reverb. It does actually have a little switch at the back here, a toggle, where you can switch the lights on or off, so you can decide whether you want to have the light showing for the changes that you make. But that battery's run out, I think, inside there. I haven't opened it up to find out. I don't really use the foot switch, to be quite honest with you. But there you go, very solid build, as you expect from Zinky quality. And there you have it. That's the amount of noise I can create through a Zinky Blue Velvet 50 amplifier. If you can get hold of these amps, then don't actually ask me if I want it first. And if I can't afford it, then by all means you can have it. But I totally recommend it if you can get hold of one, because they are absolutely awesome amps. I missed this one. I can't believe I haven't played it in as long as I have. It's getting reintroduced to my life. And yeah, what else can I say about it? I hope it was helpful in some ways. If you've got anything you'd like to ask me about it, or any kind of suggestions or tips to how to make it sound even more masterful than I know it can already, please feel free. But other than that, thanks for listening and watching, and for being so kind, and forgiving my playing, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.